This guide will teach the general basics of how to roll out and fight the mid in Team Fortress 2 Competitive 6s in detail. We will cover the role of each class during a rollout and the strategies that can come about the mid. The rollout is the time during the beginning of a round where the two teams race to get to the middle point as fast and with as much health as possible in order to fight for the middle point. The act of getting there is called the rollout. There is a general meta when it comes to rollouts, however, do take time to research map-specific rollouts as they can change the meta greatly and for much better results. Once a round starts, there's a couple things that must be done immediately while the players are still frozen. First, the medic must overheal the demo. This is because out of all the classes, Demo Man is the fastest class to roll out and needs health as sticky jumping costs a lot of it. Once the Demo Man is at a full 260 HP, the demo must sticky jump towards the door where the team is rolling out while still being in range of the medic. And in some maps, he can even use his stickies to jump himself into a resupply cabinet for more health. During the rollout, the demo may not have much support, if at all, from the medic, so the Demo Man must take advantage of those health packs along the way to replenish his health. Map knowledge is a must as it will help you optimize your demo sticks for health and speed. While this happens, one of the two soldiers, that being the pocket soldier, is going to perform something called the pocket rollout. This is where he damages himself with his own rockets to lower his health. He can even use this to get him closer to the door and even hit the resupply cabinet so that he can resupply on rockets and get further out of spawn. The goal here is to get his health low enough to be able to get a running speed boost using the escape plan. Also, since the rollout takes time, by the time the combo reaches mid, the pocket soldier can unequip the escape plan and get an arrow from the medic, and overheal quickly with crit heals. The roamer soldier, on the other hand, must not damage himself whatsoever, as to keep his crit heals. The roamer will wait until he is able to walk, ask for a 300 HP crit heal, and then rocket jump to the midpoint. This is where map knowledge heavily rewards the rollout. If a roamer soldier can rocket jump his way towards mid using techniques such as ramp slides, pogos, and wall jumps, getting there with as much health and speed as possible, he can take advantage of the time to position himself to give the enemy a harder time as well as to support his demo. The scouts from beginning to end of the rollout have it the easiest. Owing to the fact that the medic's medigun beam matches the scout's speed whenever said beam is on a scout, their job is to leash the medic to mid as fast as possible. And yes, while the Boston Basher does give uber faster, do not use it on the rollout. The goal of a rollout is to have as much health as possible to overpower the enemy team. Uber doesn't even build fast enough on the rollout, let alone a mid-fight, so there's really no point into it. Now it is time for the mid-fight. This is the most important fight of the game, as it can dictate either a tactical retreat or a decisive roll, a modest win or absolute destruction. Unfortunately, there isn't a complete general meta when it comes to playing a mid-fight. It changes from map to map, from what team you're going against. Those with the better knowledge are most likely to win the fight. Fortunately, there are two common mid-fights that are present in most of, if not all, League-played competitive Team Fortress 2 maps: confrontational mids and rotational mids. This is the typical kind where two teams face off head-to-head in an attempt to out-damage one another. This kind of fight depends a lot more on who damages who earlier and harder with little flanking options, requiring coordination and damage callouts to be able to successfully squeeze the enemy team out of mid like toothpaste in a tube. You are at higher risk of losing a vital class and can even run prone to losing the majority of your team if a retreat is not coordinated at the right time. Map examples of this mid-fight are Snakewater and Metalworks. Take a look at such a fight. These kinds of mids require much more strategy and play almost like a game of chicken. What a team does is, once they get to mid, the team chooses a direction to go towards either left or right. The enemy team does the same, and as such, there is a 50-50 chance of fighting that team head-on or avoiding them completely. In a head-on conflict, it goes down to positioning and damage. In a parallel fight, what it comes down to is strategic bombs, flanks, and efforts to eliminate certain enemy targets. You want to choose the situation that best fits your team. And it is also unwise to just completely stop or stagnate during these mid-fights, as it leaves you very vulnerable for damage. That's why it's always best to keep moving, rotating around until it is appropriate to collapse onto the enemy team. While still there isn't a general meta to fighting mids, there are some accepted strategies that can translate well to multiple maps. However, it is advisable to make your own conclusions though, through research and experience. Instead of having one soldier and one scout on the flank and on the pocket, it is a better strategy to have 2 scouts with the pocket and have your soldiers act as double roamers. What this means is that the scouts must now prioritize protecting the demo and the medic, while the soldiers attempt to coordinate a bomb on the enemy. Scouts are much better at defending from air attacks, as our soldiers are better at striking the enemy. As such, there is a likelihood that both teams will exchange soldiers, and thus, losing soldiers isn't really the end of the world. Even without the soldiers, a demo can deal enough damage to even out the playing field, so long as he has scouts to protect him from close encounters. What this creates is a priority list on whether or not it's a good idea to retreat. While the following gives a good idea of what you want to do not take this advice as gospel. Experience and knowledge of your player's ability will allow you to make much greater judgment calls. Starting from least important are the soldiers and scouts. Losing one of each may be off-putting, but if you coordinate well, you can easily even out the odds. But losing both of one type can be a sign of early retreat. Losing a medic might sound like an immediate sign to retreat. However, if the remaining classes can and should kill the medic as well, then you can continue trying to win the mid-fight. Losing a demo can be the most damaging, however, as your primary damage output and area denial is now dead. This can lead your med exposed and let the enemy team easily collapse on your team. As such, for lower skilled players, we advise you to retreat as to not risk being completely disadvantaged by uber disad and to prevent a complete roll. So, you've either won your mid-fight or you've lost your mid-fight. Now what? Well, both situations have multiple options on what to do based on whichever happens. But that's for another video. Hope this video helped you understand the crucial first moments to any competitive Sixes experience. Mastering this section can really pave the way for a guaranteed victory.